welcome to episode 10 of my video podcast about my passions for yarn and knitting. My name is Ina and I am the passionate knitter behind the podcast Ina Knits, and I am coming to you from Norway, where I live with my family. You can find me online as Ina Pina on Instagram and on Ravelry. And if you ever wonder why I'm called Ina Pina online, that is because Ina Pina was one of many nicknames I had during my childhood. So welcome to you all. If you have watched before, welcome back, and if you're new, a warm welcome to you, and I hope that you enjoy my little podcast. I am very happy to be here again with you, and Happy New Year's! I hope that you all had a lovely holiday season and that you have started 2018 in the best way possible. I always find it very interesting, and I always look forward to start a new year. It feels like you are starting fresh, and sometimes I find it very comforting or comfortable to close a chapter and open a new one. Although I'm not the person to have big New Year's resolutions, I always like to have some kind of goals for myself, just to have a motivator for to achieve things I want to achieve, and to keep sort of focus on things I do. And I'm also quite fond of making lists. I guess it's my inner practical engineering mathematical me that speaks. And I really wanted to make do you call it caval? No. In Norwegian we have a word called cavalcade. It's like a presentation of all the things or the main things that you have achieved over a certain period of time. And I really wanted to make a summary of 2017 for you, like knit-wise. But my main challenge last year was that I wasn't particularly good at keeping track on everything I made on Ravelry. And Ravelry is the only place where I put in what I'm working on, and what kind of yarn I'm using, needle sizes, etc. etc. And sometimes I'm very keen on keeping my page on Ravelry updated, but I haven't been good enough sticking to that plan last year. So I have a couple of goals, or 3 goals actually, for this year. Firstly, I am going to be much more, not good at, but I will do my very best and to keep everything that I work on and finish, obviously, updated on Ravelry. And secondly, I am going to do another update on my stash. I will go through my stash, and I really want to put my entire stash into Ravelry. I've been thinking about that for a long time, and I think 2018 is the year to do it. And I am hoping to at least start that process in January. And the last thing I am having as a personal goal for this year is to make more garments for myself. I have knitted some garments during 2017. From the top of my head, I cannot give you a number, but I think I at least knitted 4, and I will try and insert pictures of the garments I knitted for you here, so you can have a look. I'm knitting nearly every day, and I really want to spend more of my knitting time on making garments instead of producing all of these socks or like small things. I also want to make socks, that's not the issue, but I want to focus more on garments in order to have a larger part of my wardrobe out of things that I've made myself. So I'm thinking that having a goal of making 6 garments through this year will be achievable. That means that I overall will produce 1 garment for every second month. And I have a list of the garments I have on the needles already and that I really want to cast on, and I will give you that list when I get to the segment knitting plans later on in the episode. But one thing I want to say though is in my Ravelry group, which I also have, and I tend to forget to tell you in the intro part of the podcast, I will there post a thread with my knitting goals for this year. And my reasons for doing that is to have a place where I can just keep track of what my goals are, so that I can go in and check them every now and then and make sure that I follow up, and of course I can edit them throughout the year if I need to do some adjustments. And I don't think I will make an active knit-along out of it, because there are so many knit-alongs going on now with regards to garments making and UFO knitting, and I don't know, there's so many. But if you want to, you can list up your own knitting plans in that thread as well, and that would be very fun to just cheer each other on and have a place where we can keep track on our knitting goals throughout the year. So please, if you feel like it, please do take part in my goals 2018 progress or process. So my first finished object of 2018 is my fall coat. And here it is. This is a pattern by Pickles, and it is a great basic pattern for a coat. It is an open coat, so it has no buttons, and it is constructed top down with garter ridges on the front panels and with stockinette knitting for the arms and the back. So the interesting thing about that construction is that it is a bit shorter on the front panels than it is on the back. So the back is actually like, I don't know, 5 centimeters or 2-3 inches longer on the back or on the bottom. So that is a very flattering design, I think. And it is raglan construction, and the whole thing is knitted in one piece. I have used a combination of 2 yarns. It is knitted with 1 strand of Pickles merino tweed, which is a fingering single ply tweed yarn, and 1 strand with Pickles silk merino, I believe it's called. And I have used only stash yarn for this garment, so I'm very proud of it. And I think it's such a great feeling when I am able to make something perfectly usable out of odd scraps that I have been having in my stash for a long time. So three balls of Pickles merino tweed have been used, and the top one is a natural light grey shade, and then it has been transitioned into petrol color, and the bottom one is a very dark purple. It might appear black because I have held it double with black silk merino. And here in this part I used petrol greenish silk merino color, and on the top on the very top I used a little scrap of pale pink, and then I used like silvery grey silk merino here. I started this coat in last year summer, in June I believe, and I worked on it quite a bit during summer. Then I put it away and I picked it up again this fall, and I knitted all the way. I finished the arms quite early, and I knitted all the way down to this marker. And at this point I ran out of the purple tweedy yarn. So I of course I refused to order new yarn because this is a scrap project and I wanted to use all available scraps to finish it off. And I needed approximately 10 centimeters extra to achieve the correct length of the coat. So the reason why I stopped is because I had to unravel this mess of an old jacket that I originally bought the Pickles merino tweed yarn for. This is a project that is, I think it is 5 years old, and it is a cabled jacket that I which is also a Pickles pattern, and it's a lovely pattern, but when I completed it I realized that it was way too little for me, so I couldn't the arms was so tight that I couldn't have them on, and the jacket is knit out of 3 strands of yarn, so it's very heavy and I didn't like it at all, so it has just been laying around. So this is the mess. that happens when I unravel the jacket. And it's not very easy to see, but this is actually 3 strands of yarn right here. I guess it's 4 evenings ago I started unraveling. I chopped off one of the arms and I have been unraveling down to the very cuff to get enough yarn. And I had to cut it several times. So I'm not sure if it's possible for you to see, but I have so many small ends at the bottom here because of all the small scraps that I have been knitting into the jacket. But I think it's fine. It's on the inside and it doesn't show on the outside at all. So I'm so pleased with myself that I managed to finish off this jacket, and I think I will wear the heck out of it because it is so soft and lovely. The texture of this combination of yarn is absolutely wonderful. It's actually quite light and airy, and the mohair makes it quite warm as well. So perfect for winter. And one little detail. It's I-cord bind off, both on the cuffs and on the bottom. I know it's very difficult to see because of the dark color, but I'm very pleased with the finishing touches. So, my new favorite jacket maybe. I hope so. I'm very eager to start wearing it. So my next finished object was actually finished the week between Christmas and New Year's Eve. And it is my 3rd pair of Christmas socks. And although I can of course use them all year round because the colors are not necessarily very Christmassy, these are made out of 4 balls of Opal mini yarns, or 4 minis of Opal yarn, and they are balls that I got in my Opal advent calendar 2 years ago in the first round of Opal calendars 2015. And I was heavily inspired by Trudelue on Instagram. She made socks out of her Opal yarn every 4th day during December. So if you're interested in scrappy socks, you need to check out her Instagram account. It's absolutely wonderful. I love every pair she made. So used up pretty much all of these small balls. I think they are 15 grams each. And yeah, they were very fun to make. And yeah, I did fish lips kiss heel for these socks and a 1x1 rib and my very, very standard toe decrease with grafted toes. And yeah, I'm very looking forward to start wearing these. I think they are so lovely, and it really has like sparked my interest of making more scrappy socks. Oh, it is so much fun. I can't help it. I love it so much. Okay, my third finished object is another pair of socks that I made and already gave away. I will insert a photo here. It is a couple of children's socks made for a 3-year-old little boy, which is my mother's best friend's grandchild. And it was my first attempt of making 2 at a time socks, and I really enjoyed that process. Anyway, those socks were made out of Barocco socks, and it is the color number 1471. So, speaking of socks, on to whips. Because mom's friend, which I knitted the child size socks for, the reason why I knitted those socks for her is that she wondered whether I would be interested in making socks for her entire family. And because it was mom's best friend, I said yes. So, and I already had a large number of women's size socks laying around. And she insisted that she wanted to pay for it, even though I'm not very comfortable getting paid for knitting for some reason. So I sold her 3 pairs of women's size socks. I sold her this child-sized pair, and she also wanted 2 pairs of men's size socks for her husband and her son-in-law. But I said that I couldn't do that before Christmas. I think she asked me this like two weeks before Christmas, and no way I could finish 2 pairs of men's size socks in that time. So I said that I could knit the pairs, but I needed to do that after Christmas. And that was okay for her, so I have now started the first pair of men's size socks for her. And I am not the one to usually knit for like on request, or for my closest family members, of course I will do that, but usually not to anyone else. But I think that I will be able to crank out these 2 pairs in January, February maximum, and then I will just keep on knitting fun things for myself afterwards. So this is the first of the men's size sock pair, and because I think that knitting men's sized socks are quite dull, I had to do something fun, and therefore I'm striping these. And the grey one that I have used for the cuff is Regia one. I don't have the ball band, but it's a regular 4-ply Regia sock yarn. And I have been striping in the Barocco socks that I also used for the children's socks. I used only the grey for the heel, and I have just finished the gusset decrease. And because the recipient of this pair has quite broad feet and how can I say it, like chunky legs. I found it most practical to do some kind of ribbing all the way, so that's it's easier to get the correct size then, I think. But the lazy part of me didn't want to do ribbing all the way, so I only do ribbing on the front. And I've casted on 72 stitches, and I really hope that that's enough. I think so. I hope so. I'm not knitting this pair again. Yeah. So this is the first one, and I have got a good amount of yarn left. Both of these are 100-gram balls, and they will at least be enough for this pair. I'm not sure what kind of yarn I will use for the next pair, but we shall see. We shall see. My second and final whip at the moment is the Irish shrug. I cannot say nice enough things about this pattern. It is so addictive and almost meditative knit. So this is my shrug so far. And it has a very interesting construction. It was started here with a provisional cast on, and I knitted all the way to this part, and now these stitches are just held live on a spare cable. And then I picked up all the stitches from the part or the provisional cast on, and I have knitted this way. So I believe when I have finished the pattern on this side, I'm going to block the whole piece, and then I will pick up stitches for sleeves and for the collars. And the pattern is by Melody Hoffmann, and I believe she is called Bee Mandarins, or is that her podcast? I am not sure, but I will put it on the screen. And the yarn I'm using is a beautiful treasure of a yarn that I have had in my stash since I visited Edinburgh for the Edinburgh Yarn Festival last year. And the yarn is from Walk Collection. It's their Linnea base, which is a combination of alpaca, linen and silk. And the color is called Cosmic Chaos. And it is one of those colors that when you see it in a distance, it looks quite neutral. But when you come close, you see that there's so many colors, and it is a mixture of reds and blues and like goldens and silvery grays, and there's so many different colors in this skein. And the drape is of course wonderful due to the combination of yarns or qualities, fiber qualities. I've had evenings when I have knitted this and it's almost impossible for me to put it away because it just it flies by, and it's so, as I said, almost addictive to knit. So I really enjoy this. Although I have had this pattern since Melody released it this summer or fall, it was Amy of Amy's Little Kingdom that really inspired me to cast it on. She is hosting a knit-along for the Irish shrug together with a wooden nest. And I believe that the knit-along is lasting for the entire month of January. So I'm really aiming to finish this before the knit-along ends, and I think I'm definitely going to achieve that goal, because I cast this on Christmas Day, and I have been knitting a lot on it, but I have also knitted on other things, and I think I've come quite far on just a week and a half. Yeah. So that is a wonderful knit, and I definitely recommend the pattern. I wanted to talk through my garments that I have on the list for this year. The first one on my knitting list was the fall coat. And when I made this list, I thought that it would be quite an achievement to finish it. It turned out that it only took me 3 evenings. So it almost feels like it doesn't count for the garment like year of 2018. The second one is the Irish shrug, and I think I can definitely finish that off during January. Thirdly, my Setesdalskofte. I had talked about the Setesdalskofte for some episodes now, and the progress has been very, very slow. I'm not sure why. But at the moment I am knitting on the first sleeve, and I had a goal of finishing that kofte before the Edinburgh Yarn Festival in March, because the yarn that I am using in that kofte was bought last year in Edinburgh, and I bought quite a large amount of yarn there. Surprise, surprise. And I had a goal for myself that before I went to the next year's Edinburgh Yarn Festival, which is this year, I had to knit up as much as possible from last year's purchases. So we shall see. I think the most important thing is that I have it cast on, it's on the go, and if I don't manage to finish that kofte before I go to Edinburgh in March, that's okay too. That's okay. I also have the peace sweater on the needles. The peace sweater is a garment that I am knitting for my mom. She really wants that sweater, and I have promised to knit that for her. And it hasn't seen much progress for the last month either, and I really need to keep working on that on a regular basis, because it's a big undertaking, and I like knitting on it, but I get bored quite fast. So I think the best way of just ensuring the steady progress, I need to make sure that I knit on it. Maybe I will dedicate one night a week. Maybe. So those were the 4 sweaters that I have casted on already. Or one of them is finished though, but yeah. And I have 3 sweaters that are on my wish list. And the first one is a Marius sweater. That is sweater with a round yoke, and you will probably have seen many versions of it online. And I have been wanting one for myself for a long time, and I hope that this year is the year where I'm going to realize that plan. I also really want a Sous sweater. That is a pattern by Norah Gaughan. Sorry. That is a lovely cabled sweater with, I think it's double moss stitch. And a very interesting construction. And I have been watching that pattern for quite some time, and then I was so fortunate to win a knit along that was hosted by a Wee Bit Knitty. The prize was a pattern of my choice, so I choose the Sous sweater pattern, and now I have it, and have been starting to think about which yarn I'm going to use. And I really want to try out some Brooklyn tweed shelter for this sweater. I think that yarn will be perfect for a cabled sweater of this size, and but that means that I have to purchase yarn, and I'm not sure whether I'm going to do that now or if I'm going to have it on hold and maybe look for suitable yarn when I'm going to Edinburgh in March. The last garment I have on my list is the flea cardigan or damejakka Loppa, a pattern by Pinneguri, or Myhre she's called. I casted that cardigan on a long time ago, probably 2 years, 3 years, I don't know. And I casted it on using thin alpaca yarn. And I knitted the entire yoke and started on the flea part of the cardigan. And I didn't enjoy it at all, and it was all due to the thin alpaca, which was very slippery to knit with, and it wasn't suitable for stranded color work garment knitting. So I have ripped back the entire cardigan, and I now really want to knit a new one, and I'm thinking about maybe using the beautiful Helga Isager yarn that I bought in Copenhagen in September. I didn't bring the yarn with me, but it is I think it's a Highland wool yarn, non-superwash treated obviously, and it has a very deep burgundy color. That's the main color that I want to use. So that cardigan might just make its way up on my wish list, and chances are that this cardigan can be cast on quite soon. So that was my wish list, garment wish list / plans for this year. And I will put that list in a thread in my Ravelry group, and if you would like to, please go in there and publish your own wish lists in that thread. And yeah, hopefully we will have lots of more garments for ourselves within the end of this year. Another knitting plan that I have and that I need to make quite soon is a pair of thick felted mittens for my eldest daughter. She really has requested a pair, and I need to make them for her quite soon. And I'm also going to make a pair of socks for my youngest daughter in a burgundy red color that I have showed you before. And also I need to crank out those men's size socks that I talked about. So yeah, that's my knitting, not plans, but my list of things that I need to knit. And frankly, I can't wait to get finished with that list in order to continue knitting things I really want to knit. But of course I think it's so wonderful when my daughters wants me to knit them something. So lastly, in this episode, I will announce the winners of the Nordic Stitches Cal. That was a knit-along that were run for the end of 2018, and it ended on New Year's Eve. And in that knit-along we knitted patterns from the very talented pattern designer Lily of Nordic Stitches. And the knit-along was co-hosted with the wonderful Emilia of Arctic Knitting. And it was so much fun to do that knit-along together with you all. And we had a lot of beautiful finished objects in the finished object thread in my Ravelry group and in Emilia's Ravelry group as well. So if you're curious to see what everybody knitted, please go over to those two Ravelry groups and have a look for yourself. In that knit-along I had 4 prizes, and one of the prizes have already been announced, and that was the Progress Keepers that were made by Lily of Nordic Stitches. The Progress Keepers were won by Jamie Walcott. I did announce her as a winner 2 episodes back, I believe, but she hasn't contacted me yet. So Jamie Walcott, you need to contact me now. If I don't hear from you within the next 2 weeks, I will draw for a new winner for these lovely stitch markers. The next prize was a set of minis of fingering weight yarn. These are all mini skeins from my stash. I've been using every single of these yarns through to miscellaneous projects through 2017. And the minis were won by post number 16, which was Sika. So congratulations, Sika. Please get in touch with me and give me your mailing address, and I will send that out to you soon. The next prize was this Regia Perfect in the garden colorway, which I knitted a pair of Christmas socks out of, or another ball of course, but I really love this color. And that ball was won by post number 10, which was Fru Svarvar. Congratulations! Please get in touch with me, Fru Svarvar, and I will send that gift out to you soon. Lastly, I'm gifting one pattern of choice from Arctic Knitting, and that prize was won by number 21, which is Duva. So Duva, you need to contact me on Ravelry and give me see through Arctic Knitting's pattern on Ravelry and let me know which pattern you would like me to gift you. So thank you everybody who participated, and congratulations to all of the winners. That was everything for episode number 10. And I realize now that I should probably have celebrated that in some way, because number 10, that's a big one, isn't it? Oh well, I will do it later. Thank you so much for watching anyway, and I'm really happy to be back and podcasting again. If you liked my episode and enjoyed watching, please hit the like button on YouTube and subscribe if you haven't already, so then you will get a notification when I publish a new episode. Okay, so happy knitting and bye bye.